In high school, my friends and I were messing around with a Ouija board one night. We had done it before, and nothing remarkable had ever happened. We usually did it to try and scare each other or a girlfriend. We all thought it was a joke. That night there was no one else home except for the 7 of us, and we were all together around the board. One of the girls there wanted to try it. She had never done it before. This time was different. The board misspelled some of the words the same way every time. It gave answers that seemed historically accurate for our town. Long story short, the spirit claimed it was a 10-year-old boy who had died on the property in the 1800s and was buried there in an unmarked grave. My friend's house was on the farm at the edge of the town. We were all a little freaked out because the board had never been so detailed and consistent. However, we were still skeptical, and we all assumed one of us was trying to scare the rest. Finally, my friend asked if the spirit could do something to prove he was there with us. It went to yes, and then spelled K-N-O-C-K. Then the planet stopped moving. We all just stared at it silently. And then there was a rap, rap, rap on the window right next to us. The lights were on outside, and there was absolutely no one out there. We never touched that damn board again. When I was in high school, I had a lot of these unexplained experiences. At the house my dad lived in at the time, there were times I'd be sitting in the living room and distinctly hear the cabinets opening and closing in the kitchen. It was just me and my dad had lived in the house, and you could clearly see when his bedroom door was shut and he was asleep, but I could still hear the cabinets. Normally, my dad worked 7 to 3, but occasionally worked an overnight shift or late at night. One night, he was working until 11. I was 17 at the time. Around 8 p.m. or so, I'm sitting in my room playing Borderlands, and I think I hear footsteps coming from the living room, which was right next to my bedroom, and I assume my dad's home early. I go back to playing Borderlands. I keep hearing the steps, so I pause the game and listen, and the footsteps are just slowly pacing back and forth between the living room and the kitchen, in a steady rhythm. I jumped to my bed, scared shitless, and actually counted the steps. Every time, it took 15 paces to the living room and 15 back to the kitchen. Needless to say, I did not sleep that night. I had another situation at my mom's house about 2 years prior to this. Out of nowhere, my alarm clock would go off at midnight every night, and I assumed it was busted and got rid of it. Fast forward to present, right after this footsteps incident, my mom gets another brand new alarm clock for my room. Suddenly, the alarm goes off at night. I thought nothing of it and turned it off. This happened again the next night, and then my sister pointed out that the old one I had also did this. So I checked and made sure that no alarms were set, and I double-checked this at 11:56 p.m. Sure enough, 4 minutes later my alarm goes off. Freaked out, I threw it out. The next night was my dad's night to have me. I had a buddy of mine over, and my dad was working that night. My dad left for work around 2 a.m., and my friend had brought over an iPad dock to listen to music on. He didn't have the clock set or anything. Our friend knew nothing of the last couple nights, so I knew he wasn't just messing with me. So about 2 minutes after my dad leaves, we hear an alarm clock coming from my room. I went in. And you know how if you just plug in a clock without setting it, the numbers just blink on and off? Well, it was doing that, and as soon as I picked it up, the clock set itself to 12 at midnight, and then just turned off by itself. So, yeah, paranormal shit. I'm not religious at all, but I'm 100% convinced that it happened.